So, as I mentioned, everything sucks right now. And this is kind of a defining moment for a lot of us. Uh, More so, I think, for many of you who are going to be missing out on things like prom, I assume, commencement, who knows. I myself was a sophomore when the Columbine shootings happened, and I remember feeling like this huge thing had happened, and suddenly the school had metal detectors, and we had to do shelter-in-place drills. But after a while, things just kind of went to a new normal. It was a thing that happened, and then the happening was over. And it's very frustrating to me that it still keeps happening, but that's a whole other talk, and I'm gonna get really angry if I keep talking about it. And then I was a senior when the September 11th attacks happened, and that again was this huge moment that felt life changing. But it was a day, and that day ended, and then we kind of dealt with the aftermath. I remember, like my senior German class was supposed to go to Germany that year, and all of our trips were canceled. But eventually things kind of settled down again into a new normal. And I think what's super weird about this whole coronavirus thing is that it's not like a happening that happened and then is done. It's ongoing. We're all living with it, and the crappiness keeps mounting. And you know, I wish I had like anything kind of useful to say about it, but I think instead I'm just gonna say that this is where things like art and creativity are really important. I'm sure a lot of you are perhaps playing video games, reading books, watching Netflix. I'm obsessed with Tiger King, by the way, but that's again very distracting. I won't talk about that. I did think about whether I should like say like start all my videos with "Hi, all you cool cats and kittens." Decided against it. No one really knows what happened with Carol Baskin and her husband. That's not fair. Everyone in this country is innocent until proven guilty. Anyway, art. If you can't tell, I'm kind of a mess. I'm used to getting out of the house more. But art is a really powerful thing, both for us to take comfort in as we consume it, but also for us to process things as we experience them. I think, and encourage all of you to make something in this time, whether that's keeping a journal, writing stories. I myself have been loving all of the great stuff on TikTok, Instagram stories, whatever. Partly to remind yourself what this time was like, because as you get older, you may kind of forget it and then want to explain it to someone. You may someday want to make art about this particular time, in which case having, your own feelings about it written down somewhere will help. But also more broadly, like, people 30 years from now might someday wonder what it was like when everyone had to stay at home for, a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long this is going to go, and what the world was like. And so when we make kind of anything, art, writings, journals, we leave a record for that. And I think that's kind of cool because as a writer who has to go and research things, firsthand accounts are really excellent research. I also think, we get bored. Writing is something to do. Drawing is something to do. Music is something to do. I've actually been playing my guitar a lot more now that I don't really have anything else to do, which is fun. I'm still terrible at the guitar, by the way, but it is fun and it's fulfilling. And I think also crucially, art, and for me, writing in particular, lets me express emotions I don't know how to express any other way. And some of it's just for me. April is National Poetry Month, and so I've been writing a poem a day, and oh my goodness, they have been very dark. Clearly if I was allowed out of the house, I would go see a therapist or something. But it's helping me to get the feelings out of my brain and onto paper. I've written lots of things in my career as a writer, many of which were terrible and didn't sell anywhere, but which were about feelings that I was having. Darius in particular was about my feelings about being mixed race, about growing up in diaspora, about what it was like to be a young queer kid. I just kind of had to dive into those feelings, and there were times when it would have been a lot easier on me if I had been like good at keeping a journal in high school. Like about once a month I would think I should keep a journal, and I would keep it for like a day and then get bored. Even now I'm like, I should keep a journal of all my time in the coronavirus, and I'm failing. So definitely like do better than I am, but also like if you don't, it's not the end of the world. I think we're all coping with this time in different ways. I've taken to running a lot, and I like hate running. Like, respect to anyone who likes running. I think it's terrible. I would rather be doing just about anything else. Swimming, biking. Normally I do CrossFit. I also took up figure skating because I was obsessed with the anime Yuri on Ice. Now I can't do any of that. I just have to go and run. And oh my gosh, it's the worst. But we'll get through it. All of which to say, I hope you all are finding those things that bring you joy and give you some sense of normalcy and some sense of control over your own life. And if you find time and all of that to also make art, I think that's cool.